Pregame.com.
Oregon, LSU, college football kicking off. Who do you like, VR?
I love LSU in this one. We finally have a line that I think is going to stay steady. We may see it climb a little bit, but it's not on that key number anymore. It's now at 4.5. Oregon, a road favorite. And I really like LSU with the points here. To be honest with you, I like them at 3. Now that it's off that key number and you're getting 4.5, I just think the value is incredible.
Okay, let's talk. One of your specialties is the market movement. Explain to me from the time there was an open on the games of the year. They opened up in June. This was one of the games. Then the suspensions. Give us a timeline quickly on how the lines moved.
Okay, Oregon was a 1-point favorite. And this was actually one of the games that the Golden Nugget hadn't put up. The first ones they put up was the September 10th games.
Okay.
So this line went up at -1, and you saw it go to pick'em, then you saw it go to 1. Then with the problems that LSU's having, the line came down, came off the board.
All right.
Line went back up for a day at LSU -3, and now with, Oregon -3, obviously. Now with the new suspensions on LSU, they took it down again and brought it back up. Now it's at 4.5.
Okay, so first question. At 1, let's say, would you have liked LSU? Or is this a play about, hey, I think there's going to be a rallying around by the LSU team around these suspensions that we're going to get a really strong focused performance? Or would you have liked LSU at pick'em with all the players?
No, I like LSU more now because I thought that the line at pick'em is pretty much where it should be. But I think the adjustment...
So you think there's been an overreaction?
Exactly. It's an overreaction. Now, what you got to remember is this. LSU is the one team that got the most wise guy money on those future games. On those games of the year, LSU got the money. Against Mississippi State, they opened 4.5, went to 6.5. Florida, they opened 7.5, went to 11.5. 4-point movement. And even versus Alabama, they opened +7, and it went down to +4. So LSU was getting money in every one of the matchups they had for games of the year. That's rare because LSU doesn't cover games. The last time they had a winning season ATS was the first year Wes Miles was there, 2005. And they went 7-6 ATS, or 6-5-1 ATS, one game over 500. So they haven't been a winner against the point spread. But wise guys apparently saw the value in LSU this year and have been jumping all over them. I still think that value's there.
All right, so let's take... But here's the thing, though. If you thought that value was there, you would have liked LSU at pick. You're not playing this as a fundamental power ranking difference that LSU is underrated. You're playing this because of an over-adjustment to
the line. Correct.
Over-adjustment, not to the line. An over-adjustment of the line because of the suspensions.
And I don't think it's justified because the problem is this. Yeah. LSU's weakness has been the passing game the last 2 years. And
the passing game as passing?
The
or
quarterback position.
Okay,
the quarterback position. And Jordan Jefferson wasn't the answer. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's not the answer. Jarrett Lee's a senior. He's played with the offense before. It's not like this is the first time he's starting. And more importantly, they brought in a 4-star JUCO recruit, LSU did. A 6'5" pro-type, prolific passer that's supposedly a monster, 250, 6'5", a pocket quarterback. Totally different style than what they've had the last few years. So obviously LSU didn't think that the quarterback they were supposed to start the season with was going to be the answer. Otherwise, there's no reason to go get a JUCO that's more or less going to give you one season unless you think you're going to be changing your quarterback anyway. So I don't think it's just that big of a problem. More importantly, they've got 8 starters back on offense, including the whole offensive line. I think that's key. And the one thing that I always say, when a quarterback is thrown in a backup, let's say, without time to prepare, you're throwing them to the wolves. That's what happened the first time Tony Romo got thrown in on Monday Night Football that went in for Bledsoe. That's the thing that happened to Tom Brady when he went in for Bledsoe. Both these guys went in for Bledsoe at halftime and got annihilated. The following week, though, with a week to prepare with the first-team offense, they went out there and did damage, covered the number. Here, I think you have a quarterback that's been playing with the first-string offense for a while getting ready for this game.
Okay, so let's talk about the different ways that a replacement quarterback can be thrown into the fire. One is it happens during a game. Well, other than halftime betting, that doesn't really affect the handicapper all that much. Another way is guys hurt at some point the week before. Now there's a week to prepare. But now we've got another scenario where there's weeks and multiple weeks to prepare.
Exactly.
So your point is that whatever the talent difference is between the quarterback that's been suspended and the current quarterback, that's one thing. But then the preparation time or lack thereof is another. Since there is a lot of preparation time here, the only real difference isn't prep, but rather the true talent difference. You're saying maybe it's not that much.
Exactly. I don't think
so. This is a play that they're overreacting most specifically to the quarterback.
Yeah, and I think you're giving me a field goal more than what the line should be at, just by the adjustment.
All right, so you're saying that you think the adjustment, so if Oregon was 1, and you're saying that it's 4.5 is a field goal of overinflation, then you're saying that it only should be a half a point adjustment to go to 1.5, all these suspensions?
I really, to be honest with you, because of the problems.
Or you thought the 1 was a little inflated?
I thought the 1 was inflated because.
But not so much that you would have played the game.
I would have jumped all over LSU. No. So
that's
the only side I would have looked at.
Maybe this game should have been pick'em, but it was 1, or maybe LSU should have been 1.
Exactly. But the one thing that I really like about LSU is that they had time to prepare. Oregon is one of these teams that the odds makers have had to try to inflate the price on. They're an offensive juggernaut, so people love to bet teams that score points. This team scored 47 points per game last year. They were covering numbers. But if you look at the history of Oregon, 3 of their 4 losses over the last 2 seasons came against teams that had extra time to prepare. It happened when the first game of the year against Boise State in 2009, they lost to Boise State. Then against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, Ohio State had time to prepare. They beat Oregon. Last year in the BCS Championship, Auburn had time to prepare. They held this offense to 17 points. If you don't have time to prepare for Chip Kelly's spread offense, you're in trouble. But if you have extra time to prepare for it, good coaches have shown the ability to shut it down. And I think Les Miles, with the defensive speed he has, will have come up with a good game plan to shut this offense down like those other coaches did.
Now I hear 2 things that both of them make sense to me. Overreaction to a very public group of suspensions, and the fact that in an X's and O's sense, having a lot of time to prepare is negative against Oregon because their opponents benefit more from the time.
Exactly.
One concern, and then you can give your official prediction. I think there's 2 types of injury/suspension type, let's say an absence of a player. One is the player's out, it may be a game or 2, maybe multiple games, but maybe the whole season, but the player being out or players being out does not crush the dreams. One of the things that we're going to talk about throughout the entire year is when a team loses a game that crushes their dream, that they usually have a letdown the next week. If their dream is a 500 season, if their dream is a bowl game, if their dream is a national championship. You got to know the team well enough to know what their true dream is. The minute that's crushed, you want to fade them the next week. And that's been very successful over the years. What was LSU's dream coming in the season? To win the national title.
Exactly.
Has these suspensions made that an impossibility or a borderline impossibility?
No.
So it's not a dream crusher?
No. They're still 4th in the nation for a reason.
And one of Marco's key theories is the first game after there's an absence of players, other players tend to step up. They can't do it over long term, but they tend to the first time.
Exactly. And Wes Miles has recruited national championship caliber recruits for the last 3-4 years. Since he's gotten there, he's been building up for a national championship. And I really think these recruits are going to step up and bring their A game, and that's going to be too much for Oregon. But my final thing I want to pass along is this. Oregon last year won the turnover battle in all but 2 games. They have a plus 17 in turnovers. Their defense took the ball away 35 times. That, to me, is a little bit lucky. And I think the luck factor isn't going to work out as well for them this year. And I really don't see them repeating that success ATS.
Official prediction.
LSU to win outright. Will not need the points in Baton Rouge.
All right, guys. Now listen, what we want to do is we want this to be the start of the conversation. VR made some very interesting points. Jump in, tell us if you agree or disagree. And next up, what's our second game?
Georgia, Boise State.
Let me say it like that. Georgia,
The
Boise
big games,
State.
baby. I'm only breaking down them big ones.
I wonder if Colin really likes Boise. I wonder if he'll be watching this.
I hope so. Maybe he could change his mind by Saturday.
We'll be right back.